Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Why don't you love me like I know you could?
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. I think Ocala does love you, sir. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe it was a bad day that day. Kelly Hart is in the studio. We all love Kelly, and she's bringing another beautiful lady into the studio. I'm never disappointed with that. Good morning, Kelly. How you doing?
Thank you. Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for coming in as you do.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. It's
Brightening our Fridays.
well, it's gorgeous outside. It doesn't really need any brightening.
Yeah, really. Well, the studio did.
Well, we're happy to be here. It is April now, and so the new April issue of Ocala Magazine will start circulating here in the next few days. It's our beauty and home issue. We're very excited about that, and included in that issue is a little blurb about the fact that April is National Volunteer Month. And, you know, Ocala has so many wonderful organizations and charities and foundations, and there's a lot of volunteering that goes on, and a lot of it goes unrecognized. And because it is Volunteer Month, we wanted to make sure it was mentioned and recognized. And the perfect person to have as a guest today is Miss Connie Carroll. She's the Volunteer Program Manager with the City of Ocala. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Kelly. Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to talk to Connie so that we could do a write-up for the April issue and talk about the city's program and how it came to be. So for those who have not yet heard of this new program, explain to us, kind of the need there and how that was formed.
Well, the City of Ocala, we've had volunteers for years. Each department would man their own volunteer base. We decided at the end of last year, city management felt like we needed to have a formal program where we would have one person managing the program for the entire city. So with that being said, my position was created, and I moved over to Recreation and Parks from the department that I was working in prior to that. And we moved forward quickly. The first task we had at hand was, getting recognition for the program. So we stepped out and created a logo. So we have some branding. The idea is, to get it out there so everybody recognizes it. The department I work in now, Recreation and Parks, we have 133 volunteers right now. Historically, what's been happening is those people that work in Recreation and Parks, they have their programs to take care of, but they also would have to do recruitment of volunteers in addition to that. And that's two jobs, basically. So when I came on board, it was my responsibility to help them. That frees them up to go ahead and just keep giving those great programs that they do without having to worry about the other commitment.
I think it's great that there's such a demand for a program like yours, because that lets me know that there are people willing to volunteer, so much so that you needed an organized program. And that's great. So what are some of the different departments and programs your volunteers participate in?
Well, based on what you said a moment ago, the first thing I've realized is we have a community full of citizens who want to give.
Yes.
They want to be involved in the community. They're excited to give back, and we're very grateful for that because we don't have the manpower and staffing to make everything happen that we need to make happen. So things like our big events. That's the biggest area where we have volunteer needs. We do our big Light Up Ocala event. We just recently did the Cracker Cattle Drive. All of those events, they take our manpower, but they also take the manpower of the volunteers that we have. So we've added the Phil Downtown Live concert series. That's huge. We recruit volunteers for that as well. So anytime that there's activities outside of the normal working day, we're involved in that. And then in addition, of course, we have our regular programming. So we have our centers where we need volunteers at the centers to help us with things like math tutoring with the students after school. We have our Discovery Center, we're opening, actually tomorrow is the grand opening of our water exhibit that we have on loan from the University of Florida. So we utilize volunteers for those types of things. In our senior centers, we have volunteers. In fact, our one volunteer at our senior center was recognized at our city council meeting on Tuesday night, which was so exciting. He's been volunteering for years, and because we never had this program, there was no recognition.
And was that James Brown, Mr. Brown?
It was James Brown.
I
Not
saw
the
the-
James Brown, but James H. Brown,
I
yes.
saw those pictures. It was a wonderful, it sounded like it was a wonderful event. And I'm sure he was very, very proud to receive something like that. That's really nice. I do want to invite our listeners to call at 622-WOCA because it is National Volunteer Month, and so many of you volunteer. And, you know, if you want to call in and tell us how you like to give back through volunteering, we'd love to hear from you. Or if you have any questions for Connie about the city's volunteer program, please call. And if somebody is interested, what goes into, is there an application? Is there some kind of, like, let's say, for example, Light Up Ocala, because I've been to Light Up Ocala. I cannot even imagine what goes into getting that situated and all the preparation. And so do you take your volunteer pool and have briefings beforehand and say, here's what goes into this and here's what you need to do?
Yeah, we do. It's kind of a combination. If it's something that's an ongoing program, whether it's T-ball, NFL football, that we have the flag football program we're just starting, we have on our website, there is an application. Every volunteer has to complete a background check and fingerprinting, just a safety there. And that's a little different than we do events. When we do events, we do actually do a pre-meeting. We put it out there. We put it on our Facebook page. We put it through Volunteer Match, and we do our recruitment that way. We've connected with the College of Central Florida. They actually sponsor the RSVP program. So we're starting to collaborate with them so that they can assist us in the recruitment. And for the events, they'll come in for a pre-event meeting. And that way we can tell them, because as you know, say Light Up Ocala, like you referenced, it's huge. It's blocks and blocks.
Yes.
And so, we have maps. We show them this is where you're going to be. We check on them throughout the night, provide them snacks, drinks. We just want to make sure that their experience is a good experience.
I know FAFO this year, I was so pleased to have it back downtown, and I noticed there were a lot of volunteers. They were very easy to recognize. They were handing out the maps and letting people know where the bathrooms were located and where the eateries were located and where certain booths were located. And it seemed very, very organized this year, and it makes it a lot easier, I know, to have those people in place so that things are effortless and a little bit more seamless when it comes to organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do try to give them, whether it's a T-shirt or a name badge, something that they can be identified with the public so that they know, oh, this is somebody I can go to if I have a question. They're going to be able to help me, tell me where I need to go. So they're invaluable.
Right.
We just, we don't have the manpower we used to. So
Right. And I know just through doing events myself and sharing things on Facebook and social media, asking for other organizations for people's time and effort. There are a lot of people that will say, I just don't have the money to be able to give or help. And I don't think people recognize the fact that being a volunteer sometimes is worth more than cutting a check. And so I'm always encouraging people, just if you don't have the money to give to organizations or to help somebody or to a charity, just consider giving a few hours of your time. Because when those
absolutely.
things add up, you can have all the money in the world. I know every year I do Operation Feed 100 at Christmas, on Christmas Day. And I could have all the money in the world to buy the food and do the things I need, but without those volunteers to show up and set up and organize and help serve the food and clean up, it would not be a successful event.
Right.
I mean, with an endless amount of money, it would still not be a successful event. So those volunteers are invaluable. So I'm always trying to encourage people that say, I wish I could help, but I just don't have any money. Give 1 hour.
Right,
You
right.
know.
And it's funny you bring that up because we get information from an independent sector company, and they put a value on 1 hour of a volunteer's time. And this year, the value of 1 hour is $22.14.
Wow.
It contributes that much value to an organization. So, for example, in the city of Ocala, we just January and February, we had over 2,200 hours donated.
Wow.
Okay, so when you calculate that times the $22.14, $50,000, right there almost, that has been given without having to write a check or having to give money. So
Right.
it's huge.
Well, when you do the math on that, it makes even more sense because people always talk about where's our money go, who's getting paid to do these things. So when you have people donating their time and their energy and not asking for anything in return, and it adds up, that's money that the city is not having to spend.
Right.
And we still get to enjoy these wonderful events like the parade and, FAFO and Light Up Ocala. Because like I just said, if volunteers did not show up, if there was no interest, these events wouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we found that, like I had said, we've had volunteers for years, but a thank you goes a long way. And so our goal is moving forward, now that we have the program, we want to do some recognition for those volunteers because they give so unselfishly, and we want to give back to them in appreciation for what they do.
Absolutely. And is there any opportunities for minors? Because I know kids are always looking, or some parents just want their kids to start volunteering young so that it kind of molds their character.
Absolutely. We do have children that volunteer. Now, you have to be 16 years of age.
Okay.
But we have opportunities for groups. So if you're under 16 and say you're in the junior ROTC group or the Southeastern Youth Fair, they have ambassadors. They're not 16. If they volunteer as a group, and they have somebody from their organization with them, they're more than welcome to be involved. We have a lot of high school students that volunteer. They need the community service hours for their Bright Futures scholarships. So it's amazing, the kids that want to give. Yeah.
So tell me about some of the permanent programs, because I think those are critical because they're ongoing. So you said, for example, there's something new, a flag football program?
Right, yeah.
Tell
And
us
actually,
about
I don't know that it's new, but we have events throughout. When we have T-ball when it's baseball season. We do football when it's football season. So right now we're recruiting for coaches and team moms that want to get involved in the NFL flag football that we're offering. Anybody who wants their children to participate, they can go onto our website, to Ocala Recreation and Parks, and there's a place where you can register online through ActiveNet, and you can get your student involved, and then get in touch with me, and we can get you involved as a coach. We have other programs that go on, like I had mentioned, the tutoring. Those are things that we try to do throughout the year, and it's cute. I went by the E.D. Krosky Center the other day, and I have a volunteer over there helping them with their math, basically, but it's after-school homework. And the kids were just rallied around her. I walked in, they did not know who I was, and they're all clapping. Is she another math volunteer? I said, no, you don't want me helping you with your math. But it was just exciting that the kids are so moved by it. And so it's important, the regular programs that we have as well.
Yeah. Well, it's when people think of volunteering, they think that they're doing something good for that particular organization or the community. But if you're a volunteer, you're doing something amazing for yourself, because if you've never volunteered, this is my challenge to you, if you've never volunteered, to find something and go and volunteer just one time, because it can really be eye-opening. I mean, if you have never gotten dirty building something or planting a garden for an organization, or if you've never fed a hungry, homeless person or helped a child, it is such an experience. I mean, you are doing so much more for yourself than I think you even realize. I can remember in high school, I went to Vanguard and I was part of a service club there, and one of the things we did every year was the Special Olympics. And growing up, I didn't have any family members, that had any kind of disabilities or handicaps, and so I had never been exposed to it. And after spending the day there, I left feeling more fulfilled. I didn't even recognize the fact that I was there to help. I left there so awake to the idea of somebody's challenges, and I was just impressed that they were out there running and competing and things that I can't or wouldn't even do. So if you've never volunteered, I really encourage you to find something, and if your children are able, please get them involved, because it really is such a learning experience.
Oh,
and I'm sure that
absolutely.
you've probably talked to volunteers that have come to you after the fact and have said the same type stories.
It's true, and research shows it. First of all, if you're a senior, it gets you out of the house. You're retired at this point. Gives you something to do. You make new friends. It's good for your health. It's amazing what it can do. And just like you said, you don't realize how good it can make you feel until you actually do it.
Yeah.
And ladies, you have a phone call.
Oh, great. Hello.
Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Last week, I heard Kelly say that she's really into board games.
Yeah, I am. Guilty. Yes.
It was during the segment about Monopoly, and I'm also into board games, and I was wondering if you would consider maybe doing some kind of community board game event.
Oh, wow. That's a great idea.
I had a couple thoughts for you.
Okay.
You could have an assortment of some of the more interesting new games, plus some older vintage games, that older people like us played when we were kids.
Like us? Wait a minute.
and then also, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. It was just funny you said old like us, and I said, wait a minute.
Yeah. Grown-ups, I meant,
Okay.
And then the other thing is, if people wanted to bring a brand new shrink-wrapped game as a donation, then that could all go to a charity like Toys or Tots or Interfaith or something like that, and then, to kind of spread the board game idea to a new generation.
That's a really great idea. I've seen charity events and fundraisers where they've done like Xbox Live competitions, and it dwindles down to 2 people and you pay an entry fee. So maybe that would be a good concept for something for charity, but with board games.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea. Thank you. I'm gonna think on that.
Well, thanks for everything you people do for the community. We appreciate it.
Thank
Bye-bye
you
now.
so much.
Could use the sidewalk around the pond at Tuscaloosa. That could be the Monopoly board.
Yeah, there you go. It could be like a human live Monopoly.
Right. And
That's
if you
a good
have you
idea.
been to Tuscaloosa Park lately?
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Oh, so much has gone on over there. We've talked to Miss Townsend. Of course, we had her in studio, and she was Ocala Magazine's Person of the Year, in fact, just because of so many things she has helped to spearhead or been a part of that has changed Tuscaloosa immensely. And we're still sitting on ready for the Ocala Symphony Orchestra to move in down
I
there.
know.
So many exciting things are
things.
happening.
That's true.
And I know, just in putting together the April calendar for Ocala Magazine, I did see there's so many events going on this month, and one of them, I believe, is this. There's a senior fishing thing
Derby.
and derby, okay, and then I think the mayor has his
Spring cleanup.
So tell me a little bit about the spring cleanup.
First of all, April is a crazy packed month, and it's funny how things happen. All of a sudden, you have 5 events on one day.
Yeah.
And April 26th is one of those days.
Yeah.
We have Art in the Park. Well, actually, it's all combined together. It's our Earth Fest Arbor Day. So we have Art in the Park. We have our Earth Fest Arbor Day event. We have a youth fishing derby that same day. We have the Brett Eldridge concert that same
Yes.
day. So much going on. The Mayor's Spring Cleanup, which we're excited about that because I think this is, the time of the year. It's spring. You want to be outside. You want to be, just like you said, getting your hands dirty.
Yes.
So we're recruiting volunteers, of course, for all of the above. Yeah, it's going to be a big day. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it lasts until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And then people can leave there, go downtown. I think the Brick City Beer Festival's that day, so you can participate in that.
Yeah.
And then walk over to Citizen Circle, participate in the concert.
Yes.
It's a nonstop kind of day.
Well, it was after I had talked to you that I started putting the calendar together, and I went to the city, website to look at events and make sure we weren't leaving anything off. And I kept adding, and I thought, is this right? All on the same day? So, and after having just talked to you, I thought, no wonder there's such a great need for volunteers because there's like 8 different events happening on that one day. Plus the entire month, hit and miss, there's different things going on
throughout the rest of the month.
So absolutely. And if somebody is interested, is there a website or an email that you want to give out so people can contact you?
Yeah, they can call me directly at my office, 368-5504, or email me at ccarroll, that's CARROLL, 2 R's, 2 L's, at ocalafl.org. And again, like I said, on our website, if you go to the www.ocalafl.org, go to the Recreation and Parks Department, there's a place for volunteer recruitment there. So
That's great. And I'm sure, is it just you and your program, or is there a team of people that you work with? Is there anybody else you want to mention that helps you out, or do you carry all of this on your own?
Well, we all work together, of course, particularly on events. We have an event committee, but as far as the volunteer recruitment, that's just me.
And I'm glad that you mentioned seniors because I didn't even consider the fact that seniors, it's such a great opportunity for them to get out and to participate because you're right. It gives them a chance to meet new people, be active, feel like they still have a purpose and they're contributing where, sometimes older people don't feel like they fit in or they don't have anything they can contribute, but volunteering for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, they've worked their whole lives, and then they stop working, and so many of them, they sit home with nothing to do. And funny, we have a range of volunteers, but we have a volunteer at our 8th Avenue Adult Activity Center, and I'm sure she won't mind my saying she's 101.
Wow.
Yeah, she celebrated her birthday at the senior center. She dances. She teaches dance.
101.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I know, it's amazing, and she just gives and gives.
Wow.
And so she's one of your volunteers.
Yes.
101.
101.
So there is no excuses if somebody says, I just am too old to volunteer. Literally.
Right.
No excuses.
Well, the 102-year-old might be able to say
Well,
that.
100, yeah. I'm 102 this year. I'm going to have to retire.
Well,
Wow,
no,
that's
next year,
amazing.
because she'll still be there if she
Yeah.
can be, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I bet she's probably become kind of known as, I bet people just love to be around, because I would be so inspired to be around somebody
Right.
and still active in dancing. She dances.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
she
is
was a
amazing.
Rockette years ago,
Oh my
so
God.
she just
Oh my gosh.
it's her life. And you're right, people want to meet her. My mom came. She's like, I want to meet the lady. Okay, so yeah.
Well, I know in talking to Penny Miller that was with us at Ocala Magazine, she was really excited. Even before, we've been talking about the fact that April was Volunteer Month, and leading up to that, how can we recognize people and how can we make sure it gets worked into the magazine so people are aware of it. And getting to go and with the mayor present those awards to Mr. Brown, I know that she was just excited, because it's always nice when you're able to recognize somebody, because so many people give so much and then they go home and so many things get accomplished. And even though I'm sure they're doing it selflessly, they're not expecting anything in return.
right.
It is nice to know that you're being recognized, that someone really genuinely appreciates and what you're doing is recognized. And, when the mayor stands there and hands you an award and says, hey, you're doing a really great job for our city,
that's a big deal.
that's a huge deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. He was smiling from ear to ear in those pictures.
Yeah,
So
he's very humble, but he was so excited when I went and talked to him. And again, like you said, it's good to be recognized. They don't do it for the recognition. They do it because it's what they love. It's in their heart. But to be able to say, hey, guess what? We have a program now where we're going to recognize you. We're going to get your name out there. And I honestly feel like in talking to Penny, she had no idea that we had a program. So the fact that now there's somebody to get that information out there, we can do more of that. We can
Yes.
do more recognitions, and that's what we plan to do. Yeah.
Well, and I was glad that Penny linked us up, because now I'm aware of it. And so if I can make other people aware of it, then they are aware of it, and then they can share it. And
Right.
next thing you know, when people say, I have a couple hours, maybe, once a week or once a month I want to volunteer, it'll register. They'll think, you know what, the city has that volunteer program. I'd like to get involved somehow.
That's right. Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm excited that we've made this partnership, because
Yes.
I think obviously the more people that know about it, the more the word's going to get out there. We try
Absolutely.
hard to get, to advertise and to get it out. But, when you have people in your corner and they're talking about it too,
Sure.
and they tell two people, it's
Yes.
going to be amazing, I feel sure.
Yes. And I think people are motivated a lot around the holidays, the Christmas holidays and Thanksgiving holidays, to volunteer. But, there are needs all throughout the year. And so I encourage everybody to consider that and think about ways that you can maybe work with kid programs during the summer, because kids are out of school, kids are everywhere, they're in all these programs.
We have summer camps coming up.
Yeah, so we definitely want to encourage people, the right people, of course, to work with children and to get out there and help clean up our city and keep it clean. And, like you said earlier, it's really invaluable. And the fact that April is Volunteer Month, if you're not a volunteer, consider being one. And if you are, or if you know somebody who gives of their time through volunteering, this month to me would be the perfect time to recognize them.
Absolutely.
Whether it's just a personal call to somebody to say, hey, we really appreciate what you've been doing for us, or create an award, maybe an award within your company that recognizes somebody every month that you see goes over and beyond to help other people. Because I think the more that we recognize people and reinforce the fact that they're doing something positive, the more they'll want to do it. I mean,
Right.
that's just the psychology of it.
That's human nature. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's nice, it's nice when someone, there's times where I'll get an email or something through Facebook from somebody I may not even know that just says, hey, I saw what you did and thank you for what you do. And that that hits home and think, man, I want to do more now.
Want to do it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we encourage everybody to go to the city's website. Please get involved as a volunteer. Thank you so much, Connie, for being here this
Thank you,
morning.
Kelly.
And we'll keep this relationship going so we can, Ocala Magazine can help with that. Thank you, Larry, for having us.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you. It was a great interview.
Thanks so much.
All right, we will take a little break. We'll be right back.
Just wanna be your man tonight. Oh, Cali, baby, what makes you look so good? Oh, Cali, baby, what makes you...
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. New numbers out this morning showing jobs added at a solid pace in March. 192,000 new positions added.
The unemployment rate remained unchanged at 6.